we have some scary updates regarding the Edmonton Oilers, and these could have massive implications both off and on the ice. All that more today on Oilers Digest as we again break down health updates, lineup updates, all that and more today. But first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do so, as we just hit 3,000 subscribers and we're on the way to 4,000. I know it seems like a steep hill to climb, no pun intended, regarding tonight's opponent, but we are still on that journey. But folks, without further ado, let's get into these updates for the Oilers with Netmind Your Own Business. Now, the Oilers making lots of changes in preparation for tonight. You'd almost think they were the team going down 2-1 in this series, but the Oilers, with a win tonight, have the chance to knock off the Vegas Golden Knights, but that's, again, still an obstacle in Edmonton's way. But, Connor McDavid, the captain, the main man, the head honcho in Edmonton, he's not worried after Game 3's devastating loss with 0.4 seconds with that Riley Smith last-second goal. But McDavid, he is not worried. He said, "This group responds well. I expect the same. It's not an issue that I feel is an issue that's plagued us for a while. We'd like a different result last game, but it happened, and we move on to today." Now, Connor McDavid, that game in the rear view mirror. I know for many of us that game's still not, it's still in the distance there when it comes to having that in the back of your mind. But McDavid, just another day, the sun will rise again, but the Oilers will still be without defenseman Matthias Ekholm for quite a bit, as it seems like we won't see him for quite a while in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But some good news here from Tom Gazzola of Edmonton Sports Talk Radio. Says he's begun skating again. However, I'm told he's still weeks away at best there, so many of us were hopefully trying to see it at the start of the Western Conference Finals. I mean, knock on wood if the Oilers do manage to get that far, but it looks like it will still be beyond the Western Conference Finals there, and even then we still have no idea on Matthias Ekholm. Still no idea what he's ailing with. I know the Oilers aren't obviously going to reveal what he's going through there, but still very bittersweet news. I mean, we won't see number 14 or Swedish Viking for a while, but good news that he is skating there. And when it comes to Cal Pickard, here from Darren Drager from Lieutenant Eric, also from Edmonton Sports Talk Radio this morning, says his injury, although it was day-to-day, I'm told it'll probably be a week there. And from Dash in the Bark here, multiple sources telling Heavy Hockey Network, a network with multiple Oilers blogs and podcasts there, that Cal Pickard is done for at least this round. He was dealing with that leg injury after Tomas Hertl fell on him in overtime in Game 2 there, or late in Game 2, I should say, leading to the Oilers, victory. And then multiple sources were saying, okay, Cal Pickard, he was on the ice before Game 3, in the morning of Game 3, but that was before the rest of the main group, and that led to Stuart Skinner eventually getting the start there. And, a game that, again, many of us want to forget there. And then also from Tom Gazzola, says, not sure what this means about the extent of Cal Pickard's injury, but Condors veteran goalie Colin Delia is making his way up to Edmonton to join the team. Again, just an extra goalie, because right now the Oilers are only running Stuart Skinner and Olivier Rodrigue. So Delia, God forbid, he sees a second in this series. Just an extra emergency backup here for the Oilers. And that means for Game 4 tonight, whether you love it, whether you hate it, from Tony Bright here, Stuart Skinner's crease in Game 4 for your Edmonton Oilers there. It's again a very make or break situation here for Stuart Skinner. He can cement himself in one of the best comeback stories in hockey history, or he can drag the team down any further. I mean, I've beat this horse to death many times here. I want to cheer for the guy, but he's giving me Jack Campbell syndrome here, where it's just every Vegas zone entry gives me just that slight half second of war. It's okay, is this gonna go in, is this not here? But for the Oilers in goaltending there, they could, be a repeat of the Vancouver Canucks there. This is from their 2003 playoff series there. Again, not the deepest lineup, but Trevor Linden on your third line. I mean, that gives you some depth there in that defense. I mean, that is a cup contending team. But the only difference in that, didn't lead them to even a Stanley Cup final appearance in the West Coast Express era, was Dan Cloutier there. And there have been multiple comparisons from Stuart Skinner to Dan Cloutier there, with Cloutier rocking a career .872 in the playoffs there, in a record of 11 and 14 there. So lots of parallel comparisons to Dan Cloutier in the West Coast Express, Canucks to the juggernaut Oilers there. But again, Stuart Skinner could obviously prove me wrong tonight and propel the Oilers to a game for victory. We've seen Stuart Skinner, his stats from games 1 to 3 and then 4 through 7 have been phenomenal there. So hopefully that's the start of something different for him tonight. He's just been blaming the bad bounces there. But again, it just all comes down to, how your mental game is, how you perform in the crease that night. It's not about the bounces. Good goalies, learn around the bounces there and get used to it. But the Oilers, again, just a wild card tonight. You never know what you're going to get. They're the box of chocolates of hockey teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the remaining hockey teams in the playoffs this year. Again, you never know what you were going to get. Meanwhile, for these Oilers, home cooking. Let's get back to some home cooking here at Rogers Place. A very unfortunate loss to the Vegas Golden Knights on Saturdays. 0.4 seconds away from heading to overtime there. But with that loss from Jason Gregor here, the Oilers are making some changes there. Looks like Troy Stecher will play tonight. Ty Emberson is still on the ice with the other scratches there. Ty Emberson, very limited ice time throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs there, so Troy Stecher will draw in for number 49 tonight. And some other changes here. Victor Arvidsson also looks to be out, and Kasperi Kapanen draws in. Line combos unclear based on the morning skate there. Won't be surprised to see normal combos like, Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid in, Hyman, perhaps also a few new combinations. Knoblauch stressed he wants them to play faster there. From Knoblauch here, says we'll have some lineup changes. There will be some game time decisions, but there will probably be a few switches. I think we got guys who aren't playing right now that have a lot to offer, whether we need a little more speed, physicality, defensive responsibilities, offense, or whatever it is. So, Knoblauch, you just hit all the check marks here, buddy. I think we've got some guys that haven't been playing that can come in and give us a little boost. We'll be making one, maybe two changes, and hopefully that'll give our team a boost here. In the projected lineup tonight from the Oilers website with Zach Hyman, Connor McDavid, and Corey Perry there. Nugent-Hopkins, Leon Draisaitl, who hopefully bounces back from that, atrocious Game 3 performance in Saturday night. Sure, 2 assists, but just a lot of giveaways and just a lot of plays that aren't like Leon. With Matthias Janmark being boosted up to the second line, hopefully playoff Matthias Janmark, give something in that top 6 for the Oilers there. And on the third line, Evander Kane, Adam Henrique, and Connor Brown, and then Vasily Podkolzin and Trent Frederic in Kasperi Kapanen, which is a very interesting decision here to put Kapanen over a guy like Jeff Skinner. I'll get to that in a second. And there on the back end, Nurse and Bouchard, Jake Wallman and John Klingberg, and then Brett Kulak in Troy Stecher. With Stuart Skinner, obviously, like I mentioned, getting the start tonight. Again, a lot of questionable decisions here from Knoblauch, like Kapanen over a guy like Jeff Skinner, and then you have, Nurse and Stecher on the, in the same lineup, but not together. Nurse and Stecher, I do believe, has been, the best, possible pairing for Darnell Nurse to sort of hide his weaknesses so far in these playoffs there and just run Kulak in Bouchard as the top pair. As you can see there, Nurse in Stecher, and then Brett Kulak in Darnell Nurse if you even need to sort of run a platoon like you have been throughout the season there with these three. And, situational pairings, again, to hide the weaknesses with Darnell Nurse. Of course, not very favorable numbers with Troy Stecher, but to the eye test, I didn't have many problems with that pairing as well there. You are in year, number 10 of Darnell Nurse, and you have articles like this saying the Oilers need Darnell Nurse to step up, and $9.25 million. Of course, you need the guy to step up. He should have been stepping up from the get-go, from game number 1, not just of the playoffs, but of the regular season. But with Darnell Nurse, again, a wild card. You never know what you're going to get. You might get, a decent game out of him, but even then, that is all you're going to get out of there. But the real question, in my opinion, is a guy like Kasperi Kapanen over Jeff Skinner there. Sure, he's fast, but really that's the only advantage Kapanen has over a guy like Jeff Skinner, especially if Skinner can bring some scoring touch to the fourth line there. But pretty much all of the advanced analytics point towards the direction of Jeff Skinner, and you're going, okay, well, Kapanen can play the penalty kill. Okay, well, the Oilers already have a bunch of guys that can play in the penalty kill. Adam Henrique, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, Matthias Janmark, Connor Brown, Kasperi Kapanen. far down the list there. And, he's a guy that gives up more chances than he creates, and that would just be disastrous for the Edmonton Oilers to even discuss about, putting the guy in big time moments there. But hey, what do I know? Kris Knoblauch is the guy being paid to be the head coach, not me. I'm just a guy making videos on my computer about the Edmonton Oilers that, again, during the season, it's been, one continuous mood from me. But these playoffs, again, the Oilers are up 2-1, and it makes it sound like, they're on the verge of being swept tonight. That is not the case at all. I just want the best possible team to be built to put on the ice against a very, what seems to be dangerous Vegas Golden Knights team. You let them back into the series, and you never know what is going to happen there. But the Oilers, in their speed, Kris Knoblauch says it's important. Their D are aggressive. They don't allow entry easily, and they don't back off, so that creates a little less room, and you're confronted quicker. So it's important that if you're not carrying that puck, you're depositing somewhere where we can recover it, making it difficult for them. Even if you don't recover the puck, you're making it harder for them to transition, get it back out, and you just have to play the game adding on. It's almost monotonous and it's tiring, but it's important to play that style of hockey against good defensive teams. And right now, there are 8 teams left, and there's not a bad defensive team left, so that's the way the game is right now for the Oilers. Prioritizing speed to get in and, crush the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, they wore them down in game 1 and for a majority of game 2 there. So to abandon your gameplay after game 3 when the rest of the team was pretty much just average and not what you would expect them to be, you don't have to try to reinvent the wheel or completely abandon the Oilers' current style there, because again, you just have to watch the game tape of game 1, and that is all you need. But just taking a look at the forwards here for the Vegas Golden Knights, after Mark Stone missed a majority, pretty much the entire 40 minutes against the Oilers on Saturday night, he draws back into the lineup there as a potential game time decision, but all signs point to him playing tonight with Ivan Barbashev and Jack Eichel on that top line, Victor Olofsson, Tomas Hertl, and Pavel Dorofeyev. And then Brett Howden, William Karlsson, and Riley Smith, who got the game winner on Saturday night. And then Tanner Pearson, Nicholas Waugh, and Keegan Colasar there on the back end. Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin, Alex Pietrangelo, and then Nicholas Hague and Zach Whitecloud. Of course, Ben Hutton was, in the Vegas Golden Knights morning skate in McNabb's spot, but it looks like Braden McNabb will play tonight. And between the pipes, a guy who's been very beatable against the Oilers so far in the 3 games in the postseason there. Aiden Hill rocking an 850, 865, and 857 in the 3 games there. All 3 should have been wins here for the Oilers. But that is it for today's video. I mean, for the Oilers, again, just keep it simple. That's what Corey Perry's done all playoff long, and it's worked for him. A multi-goal game on Saturday. And my words are getting ahead of me here, folks. It's just lots of excitement and lots of tense nervousness here for the Oilers. I mean, there's no choice, again, but to believe in Stuart Skinner. I know many of you won't believe in Stuart Skinner, but for me, if you don't believe in him, then what's the point of even watching the game tonight? I mean, for these Oilers, again, I think they'll bounce back with a win tonight. I don't want to, get too specific with the score, because, it could be 5-4, could be 2-1, it could be, very tight, or it could be open in high scoring, but I'm not the one for score predictions. But I think the Oilers will get the win tonight. But let me know down in the comments what you think about the injury situations here. Did you think we weren't going to see Mattias Ekholm for an extended period of time? Did you think we're going to see him next round? And your thoughts, just your general thoughts on the Oilers right now, where we are at in the playoff series. And if you're going to the game tonight, folks, you're using this for a pregame pump up, be loud, be proud, and let's go Oilers. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, folks. Lots of good Oiler content these days. Take care. I'm Matt. Enjoy the game. Let's go Oilers.